Why such a strong tendency to want to identify with something? A race, culture, group, stellar society? If doing that is precisely what bounds the soul within the parameters of such a group. Aren't we more than a group of ideas, than an extraterrestrial race? Why do we search to belong, if the very decision to belong to this or other species is what outlines the boundaries of the experience of who we are? Why outline ourselves in any way? Why search such self-designation? Aren't we the source itself, with limitless avenues of expression and embodiment? What's up with the need to label ourselves as originating from this or that extraterrestrial race? Is that really the right word for who and what we are? Belong? I am starting to resent the word belong, as in belonging to the Arcturians, Pleiadians, etc. Belonging gives away the proprietorship of who I am to that specific race, and with that, to the rules and ideas and cosmology that shape their society. We are sovereign beings. Nothing and no one owns us, and we do not belong to anything or anyone, just to the underlying flow of the I amness within, the endless me. In my view, I am not Assyrian, Taygetienne, or Urma. It might temporarily be so, as in coming into the human experience from this or that specific society at a specific point in time, immersion or naturally. But the expression I am is too transcendental and all-inclusive when referring to such a single and temporary expression of my soul's journey. I am not a Taygetienne. I choose to experience myself through the Taygetienne vessel, to peek into the physicality through Taygetienne eyes. But this is not who I am. I won't give away my I amness to the single society among countless stars. I play with my expressions, come in and out, let them express me for a while according to whatever I want to embody at a given moment. But what I am is much vaster and larger, so immeasurable beyond fragmentation. My I amness lies beyond. The rest are games. And games they are, however dramatic, however important, plain and simple. The sooner we realize it, the faster we reach true liberation. Liberation which can only ensue when we transcend targeting of Earth's stellar races as places we belong to and are. We move through them. We enjoy and respect them, but be them we're not. Cages they are, all and each one of them. Not in themselves, as they are all beautiful expressions of the creative source, but in the attachment we hold to their ideas, appearance, and preferences, in the wanting to have them define us. Nothing wrong in wanting to experience them, but we must know we are free first. As long as we know we are unbounded, we choose the societies because we want to, but never because we belong to them. There is nowhere we truly belong to, only to our own immensity within, and I hope you know that. No need to identify with anything else. Be free. Be you. everybody, I am Gosha, this is Cosmic Agency, and welcome to my mystical studio. I wrote this introduction originally as the only commentary on the topic. I didn't finish that, there's going to be more thoughts, but it was just going to be basically that. But as I was writing it, and as much as I, of course, agree with what I said, what I wrote there, I just wrote this 2 days ago, I felt, well, I wouldn't be totally honest and fair with you if I didn't share, another side of the story. And that is that even though I have always felt at peace with my identity as the source and just the energy being and flowing through all these different incarnations, I have always also had a very unidentifiable yearning to know a little bit more about my stellar identity and about, different things that I'm up to up there. I've always had this curiosity, so I had to include this in this video because I know that curiosity and that longing is present in many of you in one or another degree. I have always felt to myself, before this contact experience, that I am in some kind of a disguise to myself. I was looking at myself and like, okay, this is not me. Even though, of course, it's me, but I feel like I am looking at another layer of me. And beyond that, there is some kind of truer layer of me. I felt like I was in disguise to myself. Like I was wearing some kind of a suit, and the disguise was so deep that I was completely unrecognizable even to myself. So because of that feeling, I've always wanted to break through that and understand what's beyond that layer. And I do remember that I didn't have as much peace as I have now. Now I can talk about how, it doesn't really matter what race you belong to because you are just you. But I have to be honest, that stellar identity was in a way given to me, and that did give me some additional peace. So probably it all adds up, and that's why I am so much more peaceful these days. I've never had any memories, not really. I never had any specific pull towards any specific race. I just was very eager and curious to know more about myself. So in 2017, I met Svaroverra first, and then other Taygetiens on board the ship Toleka at the time, and together with Robert, we started this amazing experience, learning different things with them and interacting with them and establishing this friendship. And during that process, it was also revealed by Svaru, and it's going to be shared here in this video for the very first time. It was also revealed that I am in the Taygetienne immersion, and I'm going to share with you conversations that took place with Svaru, how she went about it, how she told me, how she was slowly guiding me to understand this. And throughout these conversations, I think you will learn a lot for yourself, and also I will comment on some additional points here and there that can additionally help you understand this whole topic more. What is immersion, you might ask if you are new to the channel? This is, in brief, just in a very short sentence, it is, well, maybe not so short sentence, but in a sentence or few, it is a program where you are going into the cryo sleep, so to speak, hibernation pod, and you're falling asleep and you are rerouting your experience, your attention, point of attention, towards an avatar, vehicle, body here on Earth. Although this technology can be also used
between races. It's not just between them and the Earth. And supposedly that's the program I am in. I am sleeping somewhere there in the cryo hibernation pod and experiencing this incarnation as a human. And this is one of the ways to incarnate for the star seeds. They told us this is one of the common ways to come here and experience life on Earth as a star seed. We have very detailed descriptions in the playlist called Pods or Immersion Pods, I'm not sure now, where it is described in detail how this technology works. Aneka especially is describing in detail how it works, so I invite you to watch those videos. But let's go to the first conversation. This is going to be a real series of different conversations, one after another, with Varroa Verra, and in the end, it's going to be a surprise chat, okay? I'm not going to tell you yet who is going to be in it. That's going to be toward the end. But yes, first, this is actually the first ever chat with Varroa Verra. I am not alone in the chat. I am there with the lady who introduced us. And because it was very important for that lady at the time as well to have lineage of star seeds revealed, well, we are talking about my lineage. We are asking about where I come from, so to speak. But the chat here begins by Svaru asking a question. What do you think or feel you are? Because it was always very important for them and for her that you yourself come to that realization yourself. So as she asked me this question, I responded by saying that I feel myself as an energy being. Just that, some kind of a formless, shapeless, energetic creature, just consciousness floating around. And you'll be surprised, it's actually not the Taygetienne immersion yet. It's still something else.
I believe you are well aware of aura and auric readings. It can be read at a distance using a spectroscope that breaks down color and intensity of frequencies of each color, energy of each one, and patterns within those colors. It's done with a long-range laser. In a similar way, Earth science can read the chemical composition of faraway stars. A while ago, I read your aura, and the data, I fed it into my computer. The pattern is congruent with the 5 to 7th density being, or beings, found in the 3 planets orbiting the Alcyone star in M45 Pleiades. They are called hyenas. In your case, it looks like you may very probably be a 7th density Ram hyena from Alcyone star system. 3 planets, Grande, Varcha, and Rama. Lineage planet Rama, but also congruent with the other 2, particularly Grande. Probably lived all over the Alcyone system. I am also full of the other 3 in my system. Old species, only dwelling in higher realms, mostly 70. Head and founders of the Alcyone Council, that is the organism that coordinates and sees for the welfare of all the species that live around the 9 stars in the Pleiades. When physical, 5D, they are observed with fair white to light blue skin, wise and with caring, counseling behavior, credited to be part of the founding beings and guardians of this universe. They are mostly high vibration light beings, also called blue flame hyenas, violet flame as well. Hyenas as species can be found all over the Pleiades, but concentrate in their home star Alcyone. They are rare on Earth. I do not hold the exact answer as to why that is, but probably because they are so high in frequency, expansion of consciousness and experience that they benefit little by the experience of being on Earth. Why do they come to Earth? Same reason as all the others: to learn, to have a new experience, to fulfill what all higher consciousness desires, more expansion. Also to help, sometimes just by being present there, to teach, to influence in a positive way. Thank you, Svaru. You have no idea how much I appreciate it. I have been lost here on this planet all my life, stranded, longing for something unidentifiable even to myself. You are welcome. But remember that the only one that holds your truth is yourself and no one else. This is just a reading from an instrument tied to a computer. It helps, but it should never override or replace your inner knowing. Yes, but it can trigger that inner knowing, help connect the pieces. Life here is very hard. You mentioned the computer. Is this technology reliable? It doesn't make mistakes about lineages ever? Very reliable, yes. But in the end, it's just a spectroscope. Every time you live or even go somewhere, you pick up the frequency. And the more time you are there, the more frequency you pick up. So if your frequency is so congruent with those 3 planets, then the computer's take is that you, indeed, have spent a really long time in those planets. No one is ever only from one place in particular. As you said, we are a conglomerate. Yet, this frequency reading does show a clear tendency of being of that race, because you are identified with them. And in 7D, you are hardly tied up to one place, and you are naturally all over the universe anyway. You are now much more than in 7D. You are still there now, by the way.
Did you verify it again with Gosha's current setting, please?
I cleaned it up and ran it through filters, as the angle of the laser was too shallow, and the Earth's atmosphere was filtering the yellow spectrum heavily. Yet, this doesn't cause misreadings, because her frequency is blue to violet to purple, and it does go through atmosphere very easily. It's the lower frequency yellows that are filtered out because of this imperfect laser angle. So I hold my reading as trustworthy. What's the relation like with you, the Taygetienne people? We are members of the same council. We are best friends and share common interests, at least the higher ones, not so much sports and things like that Taygetiennes are so much into. Main difference is that Taygetiennes dwell mostly in physicality 5D, and Hyenas mostly dwell in 7D. They are like guides for us. By the way, those numbers are only a Gaian construction to understand things clearly, but it's only one large energy gradient. 7D is more light, closer to source, to unity, to oneness. Is there 7D physicality as well? Yes, there is physicality everywhere and in every density, but only from the point of view of those people living there, because for others, they are just seen as energy, hence the term light being. It's like only being able to perceive someone's auric field and nothing else. As 7D contains all the densities below, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, so they can access all the ones below 7D. But for example, someone in 5D alone can access 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, but not 6 and 7. How does my body look when seen from within my 7D state? Like the perfect manifestation of the exact idea of how you want to look like. Ha, really? Manifested mentally. Exactly that. This is exactly how I remember my existence. The higher the density and the frequency, the easier you manifest everything. I remember willing things to their existence. Yes, exactly. You do that as well there in the 3D, but it's slower, like a school. You don't really want to manifest an elephant, although it may look like fun at first. Just imagine the problem with its poo in your apartment. How can I connect with my family from that system? Are they near? They are 7D. That means that they are all the time around you, and you are them as well. You mentioned I was there now. What did you mean by that? We are all in 7D and above all the time. We are only using a biological suit to work in this 5D, 3D illusion reality matrix. You are always several places at the same time, and that's because the several is only an illusion to have an experience. You are there now, the real you. That's what I always have felt, that I am existing right now on another level, multidimensionally, using this 3D Gosha suit as the avatar. You are right, Gosha. What you call Gosha is only the 3D idea of being, limited mirrored interpretation of what you really are.
Yes, so hyenas, that made a lot of sense to me when I first heard it, and it still does. It still does. It explains a lot of things, a lot of feelings that I've always had, and yet that was my first classification. But you have to understand it's not contradictory. It's because many hyenas also incarnate as Taygetiens, because the 5D identity, okay, we are here peeling through onions, is not the ultimate one, if there is such a thing. But the hyenas also incarnate as Taygetiens very often. So here I am like really in a Russian doll, hyena, Taygetian, then in the immersion as a human being. But yeah, it made sense to me. Also, you have to understand, Svaru is using the words Ds, 7D, 5D as just a assignation, more or less, to understand what we are talking about. But this is the range of frequencies, and it's not really so divided, okay? But yes, Svaru always insisted that, and always, they all always insisted on that what you feel is most important. What you feel. What do you feel? That's why her first question to me was, well, what do you feel you are? According to them, what you feel you are, that's who you are, or that's a very close indication of who you are or might be. So this is important here to understand that we are a conglomerate of beings. We do not really belong, even though, as I said in the beginning, I don't like that word at all in the first place, to any specific race or society, because we are a conglomerate of beings. We have been everywhere. We try different things. So we are not just of one place. However, as Svaru here explains, the curious thing is that we tend to have preferences and tendencies. It's the same with the gender. The soul itself doesn't have a gender, but it has preferences, and it tends to repeat the same gender over and over, because souls also get attached to certain preferences, ideas, places, societies. So if we have been in a certain place for quite some time, and we have repeated the same place or society for a very long time, well, that frequency will kind of stick to us, and that's going to be what they will be able to see or perceive or read about you, and that's how it's going to come out that, well, you were Syrian because you have been there probably a long time or many times. But it doesn't mean that you are just from that place. It's just that you happen to like that place. So in that sense, but only provided that you understand you are free to choose the cage, but that's an ugly word. Not the cage, but the society. It is a cage, depending how you look at it. But of course, the words are important. So once you realize you are in charge of choosing where to go, well, then it stops being a cage. But only then, once you realize you are free to choose. So once you know that you are free, based on that, and choosing to reincarnate in the same society, well, in some way, it does define you, or does mean that it is you, because you are there because it matches you on some level. Everything happens by the match of the frequencies. You are choosing that specific society with that specific set of values and ideas because it reflects, your self-reflects to yourself who you are or who you want to be. So in a way, that society is you. So in that sense, you feeling you are Assyrian, well, if that's where you were, in a way, that's who you are, because you chose that society to reflect who you are or who you want to be or what you want to experience. So it does mean that it must be you in some way, but it is not only you. That's the key. Continue with the conversations now. There's going to be more conversations. This is a long video. I didn't know anything about the immersions before. I didn't know anything about the immersions. However, I've always sensed a similar concept, especially after watching the movie Matrix, the first Matrix that came out. When you are plugging yourself to the Matrix, as soon as I saw that movie, I felt that this is reality, that I feel like I am plugged into this reality from somewhere else. Like I'm actually sitting somewhere else, my real me, and I'm just interfacing with this here. So when they started telling me about the immersion and the immersion program and the technology, it made so much sense to me because I've always sensed that. And here in the video, you'll see how Svaru is starting to tease me with this idea. You see, here she's not telling me that I'm in immersion or not immersion. She's not telling me anything yet, but she's just like giving me ideas to ponder. And this is how it was with her and with them many times. I don't know at this point if she knew already everything about me, or whether she was discovering, as she was saying, she was discovering little by little, or whether she knew, but she was giving it to me little by little. You know, just giving me ideas to contemplate. So this is what happens in this conversation. The conversation starts from me asking about the vision that I had of being in the orbit of the Earth. This is like the only type of a memory I can say I have being in a small ship in the orbit of the Earth. I'm not going to now bore you with the story, but I was asking her about that. So that's how it starts, so you know the context. Enjoy.
May 10th, 2018. And if I have a memory of being in one of those control ships orbiting Earth, is it a real memory or a future vision? Or both? It is a memory. There is no time. It's happening now at some level. And are you able to, in a way, confirm if I was there at some point or not? Or is it something you are not able or allowed to reveal to people here? Okay, I wanted to go there the other day, so be it. Let's go down that road. Suppose I do know where you are. I'm not saying I do know. I'm not saying I don't. And you are in a cryo-sleep pod inside this ship. But you are there in Barcelona as well. Okay, let's suppose. And who knows where else, since we are so multidimensional. That's totally correct, Kosha. As I was saying before, if that's your case, then if you die there, you will only wake up here, with Anneka smiling at you asking, did you like my immersion program? She does that for real. That's what I feel might happen. I feel I am in an avatar body or something. But what if you ask me, Svaru, please take me away, I'm done here. I'm down there in Susie and you come up here. Then you walk as Gosha into the room where you are asleep, and you awaken yourself. So now what happened there? What would happen? Some kind of a paradox, no? Now, this is not theory here. I'm sharing empirical experience. And I experienced that with my mom firsthand, because I was my mom. I could be both then? Your consciousness will be in both bodies at once, because the specific frequency in each body corresponds to the real multidimensional you. You will have to learn how to drive two bodies at the same time. It can be done, and it's quite common. It's not easy, but you get used to it. You also get a lot of ethical problems, especially when you have a boyfriend and he is only one. Imagine! Isn't it better to let the sleeping one asleep? You can let the original sleep. It's useful should you die in an accident here. You have a spare. Exactly. So I could go up and the original would sleep. But then would my experience in me now, not the original one, be less authentic? No, it's just you. Once here, both are real. It may not feel real now, but if you bring it here, then things change, because all your DNA will be active, among other reasons. Well, fun to ponder this, but I guess all is possible. You have done it. Yes, I've done this. And it didn't end up well for my mother version of me, because I got sloppy. It was much more interesting to be Svaru, the little one, than the Svaru senior. So I spent too much time in Svaru, and I no longer gave any attention to the elder one. Less and less attention. Oh, so what was the consequence of that? I left on a hike, all excited, and when I came back, she was dead where I left her. No consciousness. The body dies. Why did she die? Just like that? Because she needed a consciousness. She didn't die. I am she. Only the biological body was of no use to me. It concentrated all in younger Svaru, because it was more interesting to be the young one. Well, it's okay though, right? You orchestrated it. You were the same person, so there was no death really. You just sucked it all into Svaru, the baby. That's right, yet there was still a dead woman's body in my couch, and I no longer could interface with it. It was very nice when I was a little. I thought that was normal, and everybody was like that. But as I became a teenager, things were different. Did you regret it? Yes, I did. It was horrible. I was alone and far from civilization, as I lived up in the mountains. I buried her in the backyard, by the flowers. You know what it is like to bury your mother yourself? That's why I left and decided to enlist in space travel. I could no longer bear to be there in that house with me buried in the backyard. But that mother is you, so it's not like you buried anyone. It's still quite bothersome. You are burying yourself. Anyway, you wouldn't expect me to talk about normal things, would you?
I hope you are enjoying this video and this information. Here in this part, Svaru at the end there is talking about herself. This is for the new people, where she's not referring to herself in the immersion. No, she was living in Taygetienne a very long time ago, and she had herself as a baby. She gave birth to herself through parthenogenesis. That's another topic, and that was basically a clone of herself, because it looked like her and it was basically the same consciousness. And that's what she is talking about here, that she lived in those two bodies, as her mother and then as herself, the daughter. By the way, this whole story of her living in those two bodies, her personal story, is actually shared in a separate detailed video in the past, if you want to dig it up. So here in this next conversation, she's already suggesting now, like pushing more and more, suggesting more than pushing, that I could be a Taygetienne because I have all these different similarities. I'm only showing you one chat, by the way, because otherwise it would be too long, but I'm showing you the example of how she was suggesting and making me indicate to myself, because it's very important for them and for other stellar races as well, I imagine, not to impose anything. They want you to have your life because you chose your life here and you chose your identity here on Earth, and you are supposed to follow through with that. And they don't like to interfere with any other ideas of you probably maybe being something else, someone else out there, because it might confuse some people. They're worried about that. They always wanted for me to have this realization myself first, or to have that alignment, at least to have those ideas very acceptable by me. So enjoy this next fragment.
May 14th, 2018. Do you hear people calling when they call out to the ET beings? For example, I have been calling out to the star beings for years and years, reaching out, asking for contact, for your presence. Is that heard? Yes, but there is more to that than what meets the eye. You are sending a clear and constant message to the universe, the matrix, and I mean the real and original matrix we are all in while on the material side of things. Things work that way. You ask for something hard enough, and sooner or later it will come to you. So be aware of what you are wishing for. And well, it's because it's also most probably planned by you. I mean, when you reach a certain moment in your life, you planned to be awakened and brought home. This before you were even born. So it's not that it is heard by you personally, it is received by the original matrix. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. But the callings are heard mostly telepathically. I mean, I do feel it and know who is ready and who is not, who is calling and who isn't. I did feel you personally, but I couldn't do anything until other things came to pass. When did you feel me? The first time we talked, it was very clear, your calling. And what did you hear? An inner yearning, a craving to go home, a need to understand, to grow, and an insatiable curiosity. And where is my home? Is it the Jena place? And yes, you are so right. I have all these sensations in me and need to explore too. That's a big one for me, discover the unknown. The spectroscope is a tool, but not much more than that. It's an advanced laser spectroscope read and interpreted by a computer. I prefer to rely more on my intuition. I feel and sense people. We all do. Everybody does. But most are educated to ignore it. Explore. You know, the galaxy is littered with the little Taygetienne skeletons still sitting at the helm of dead starships drifting in deep space. Of all the crews that never made it home. We are an explorer race. We have an insatiable craving for knowledge and personal expansion. What does this tell you about yourself? I am discovering so many similarities with your race. And where is home for you? At one level, it's in Temer or in Erra. This time in a nice beach. I'm tired of high cold mountains. At another level, my home is somewhere in higher realms, where I'm only light, where love is so dense you can wrap yourself with it like a blanket. That's what I feel too, Zbaru. I understand. By the way, if I am one of you, it must be funny talking to me in a complete amnesia. I can tell you this. You were Jena, as so many of us have been. But you are clearly one of us, Taygetiens. And there is a clear plan and reason. Awakening key people is the only way to make the whole planet ascend. This is how it's done, from the inside. And that's also why you are there. You are ground crew. That's also why I'm talking to you and not the Dieslian Tiplex, Arcturian's real name. Wow, I'm so happy to hear that. I knew you would be very happy to realize this. But this is not because I say it. This is your choice. You have identified yourself. You know that. I only confirm.
Okay, so here when she told me about this Taygetienne connection, of course I was very happy and excited, and it made a lot of sense to me. It was very logical, it gave me a lot of peace, and I felt totally cool with it. But now here, and this is one of the most important points of this video, one second, is that, you see, when we have certain memories or sensations of ourselves, they might be coming from different levels of us and levels of our identity. Just like here, Svaru is mentioning, when I ask her, what is your home? Well, she says on one level it's Erra Temer, on the other level it's etheric realms. And it's exactly the same for me, even though I might say, for me, the etheric realms feel even more at home, but it's all different levels of homes. So when you or someone has a sensation of a memory coming from the higher realms, like for example, a super easy manifestation, not having to walk, but just like manifesting in places or anything else, these are by the way my sensations, well, they are probably coming from those higher realms. But what happens here is that people, starseeds communities here, many times pin those sensations and those memories on a 5D world. And that's where we are getting all this information, about the 5D of Earth world being just so pure and angelic and love and light. And these sensations are probably coming from another level of your being, because we are in all these levels at the same time. But because we have such a strong veil of forgetfulness, well, of course, okay, then we're going to pin this on the 5D world. Okay, this is probably how it is outside Earth. Many of these sensations could be even coming from between lives, the afterlife. And then we can have a memory of being on a ship. So it's all meshing together, making people think it's all coming from that 5D existence, but it's not. 5D existence is biological, purely physical, there is still conflict, there is still duality, and all these other sensations that you might have are probably coming from another level of your being, because you are there as well. For example, I have always felt that it's very strange to walk. I don't understand the concept of walking. Like, why do I have to move my feet to get to a place? Like, I do remember the type of existence where I could just will myself, and I'm there, eating, swallowing, talking, of course, formulating words. This is just so heavy and so bizarre. And also, sometimes when an object falls, this is strange, when something falls out of nowhere, I don't understand why it's falling if I am not willing it to fall. This is a very bizarre thing to me, that here objects just fall by themselves. Like something just falls, like from the shelf, or I'm knocking something over. But I remember that things happen only when I will them mentally. So I'm like, why did that stupid plate fall from the shelf if I didn't will it? I don't understand the connection. So anyway, all these sensations are coming from the higher level. They are not coming from the 5D existence. And my being in the orbit in the ship, that's coming from the 5D level of home. So I think it's important to distinguish those. Otherwise, we are going to pin everything on a 5D existence, and that's where we get all these new agey mumbo-jumbo ideas. Okay, Now the next conversation, and this is now all happening in May in 2018, Svaru is revealing and confirming that I am in the immersion. Finally, it is confirmed.
May 16th, 2018. Are more people coming from Pleiades to incarnate on Earth? Mainly, but not incarnating. They mostly go in using full immersion technology. What is an immersion technology? I feel I know already. A computerized virtual reality where you hack into the digital matrix that controls Earth. You appear and function as a human when you are not. You go in there for a mission or a purpose. I feel this is me. I may be wrong. I already know you are. I am? But you told me you wouldn't confirm. Yes, I didn't say I wouldn't. I said I couldn't yet. How do you know? Telepathy or you checked? No telepathy needed, although it also confirms. It's in the data banks, clear and readable. Yes? Holy cow, as they say here. Nevertheless, you must continue with your plan there, as it's an experience you wanted. And it's not a lesser experience. It's as valid as any other. Wow. By the way, I have an important question about that. Under this immersion program, does one appear at birth or at some point in life? You can appear at any time. It's different for everyone. But then, if I can appear at any time, I occupy the already present body? Yes, you can. Or you can go in at birth, incarnating as anyone else. Or you can come in after a certain event takes place, like a spiritual awakening at any specific time. It's called a walk-in. When you are born there as a starseed, you are a crawl in. And when you walk off a ship, you are a walk down. You know, every time I go to visit my family, I feel very strange, as if I remember them, but my new me feels in conflict with that memory and even them. So I feel maybe I came in later in life. Because your memory is probably not yours. You're only using Gosha's. Yes, it's how I feel. But then, where is Gosha? Where is her soul? Did we swap? She still is there, but in a close-by timeline. Another yourself. Valid and there, but with other values. Maybe even very Catholic. She may even be Matrix, no soul. But it's not up to us to tell. Insane. This is so incredible. It's something I always suspected for years, like I was not here, crying out to be unplugged. I confirm now. You do? And do you know where I am? Am I with your race somewhere? Yes. Am I floating in space or on a planet? You are ground team with many others. Ship.
Well, yes. This immersion revelation, it was a bomb for me because it really confirmed a lot of things that I've always sensed about myself. And you might ask yourself, how do you know if you are in the immersion or not? I remember they told us it's not really possible, really for sure, to know. However, I remember Aneka said that some people report that the experience feels a little bit less real. But then how would you know if this is the only experience you have? Or remember, you don't have a contrast. But yeah, it's very difficult to know. In my case, I had a sensation, like I was just plugging in from somewhere. So again, it goes back to what Svaru said in the beginning. What do you feel? It's all about how you feel. So don't discard your own self-validation about anything. Also, another indication in my case was that the memory of certain places or people or your family members might feel a bit off. Like there is some disconnect going on. I felt this with my family when I was going back to Poland, that I was remembering them, but as if I was remembering them through something downloadable. Like I downloaded remembering them, and that's why I am remembering them. Like that memory was inserted into me. So it was a very, very strange feeling, and it still is. And about Gosha, what she was before, well, what happens to us once, we walk in through the source or through the immersion? Well, I've got a little bit confusing information about this subject. I feel like they don't want to tell me exactly, because, it might kind of destroy the experience and memory of God. They don't want to make it unreal in a way, If they're going to come out and say, well, this was a program or something like that, well, it's going to invalidate all my experiences, or I don't know, this is just or they might not know exactly 100% what's going on, if this was some kind of a walk in, walk out, or I'm actually getting the memories from there, like she said here, parallel, very close by timeline of Gosha. All this is possible. There's so many different possibilities. But now we are getting more and more detailed on this. So now, same month, this is all happening in the same month, the very first month where we were having these detailed conversations with Svaru one-on-one, 2018. Now she is revealing me, and I'm going to just share a sentence here, that I was actually found on one of the ships in the immersion, on Caroline ship. Now, okay, for those of you who might be newer, I was giving a name, a Taygetienne name, but I never revealed that name. I'm going to keep it to myself for now, and I'm just going to call myself Caroline. I know, not a very Taygetienne name, whatever. It just came up one time, and I'm stuck with it now. So Caroline is my Taygetienne name. So now here Svaru is saying that she discovered that I'm on a Caroline's ship in the immersion.
Just for you, what I can say is that you are from Erra, and you are part of Caroline's team. Ship, I'll see you on the class. Taygeta, nice name by the way. In Earth orbit now.
Okay, and now in this conversation, you will see that she is actually discovering that I'm Caroline, and she's giving me the name and everything. So this is the maximum detail here, almost. The maximum detail of the identity.
May 21, 2018. And now I must correct something I told you before. What I said was correct when I told you then, but since the last time we talked, things have changed here. I do know you here. You know me there? What has changed? I didn't know who you were when we last talked. Now I know exactly who you are and where you are. But I'm still careful about revealing this to you because I would be leading you, like imposing an identity. And I cannot take that responsibility over you or over anyone, because what's important is who you are now. You are Gosha, and that's what matters. And you are as valuable and as valid as anyone else. And what triggered your knowledge? An inner knowing at first, a realization, an epiphany. Then I traced brain activity in the people in immersion in the ships and noticed spikes in the monitors when we talk. Something like talking to someone on a cell phone while you look around in a large hall to see who is also talking. And what did those spikes tell you? Please tell me. I so want to know more about me. I know I am living some kind of a farce here. That you are there to have a life, but you have another here. And you volunteered to go in there to free the earth from the inside, because it's the only right way to do so. Then I must tell you that the who you are is in you. As I said, you don't have to look for any external identity. You are all you can be. You are complete. The idea you have that you could improve yourself in any way is socially imposed. Always something can be improved, right? I know, but if I know, it will give me so much more joy and strength. Imagine your own nostalgia, the way you feel over there. But you do know you are a starseed and why and who you are. Well, here, not knowing is so painful. I don't want to improve myself, just recover my memory. The problem is that we might be opening up another can of worms. And you also may reject that identity because you are Gosha now. And that's what is important. But nevertheless, you are her as well. I am Gosha, but I know I am someone else too. I know it. You are cornering me. I will have no choice but to tell you. This is your decision, not mine. Yes, but by the way, I don't want to corner you either, ever. I don't want to impose anything on you. I want it to be our mutual decision, please. It's just that you got me very excited. I'm sorry if I made you feel cornered. I apologize. So, what do we do? I accept you telling me. Do you? This will be hard to accept for others. I don't know their reaction. But I do know you are she. It's confirmed. You are Caroline. If I am her, then my amnesia is deep. The name doesn't trigger anything for me. Is she in immersion right now? She is, with her team. All my team, we are in immersion? To do what exactly? Yes, what you are doing now. A team, 12 of them. With you, 13. Bet that doesn't mean you know the rest there. Only here. You may never encounter one there. And won't you be in trouble for telling me? Won't I reprimand you on my return? No, I won't. They don't dare anyway. Please save this conversation so you can show me I asked you for it. By the way, thank you. You are Gosha. That's what is important. Did I know you before? Yes, we are good friends here. Explains our affinity here now. I was worried before because the reason I'm here in general is to make the life there, the experience of living there, meaningful. Not to make anyone feel it's a lesser life in any way. Yes, it's a matrix. Yes, it's false. But your experience there isn't false. So, if what I told you serves you, it's more than okay. I myself would rather prefer to know other than not to know. What does call my attention is that somehow you always find your way home, even in that matrix. I do. But yes, I'm very happy to have found you. And I confirm this is not a joke. I'm also trying to understand how you came to be her. This in general, this, our contact and all, is no joke. Don't you think it's a little too elaborate to be one? Just saying. First of all, knowing this doesn't make my life less meaningful. Actually, quite the opposite. I took my dogs for a walk and I felt at peace. As if life pieces coming in together. Everything seemed to make more sense to me. Even though I'm still processing and don't know what to think really, but strangely, I am feeling at peace. So you have nothing to worry about, and I thank you. This is not going to make my life any less meaningful at all. It will put everything in place more and will give me inner order. Anyway, you are Gosha, and that's all the meaning you need. And you are not only Gosha, and not only who you are up here. You are always so much more than what you can even try to start fathoming. Yes, I feel that. And I do feel a hyena in me also. I definitely don't limit myself to any of these life expressions. All these identities are just explorations of the higher consciousness. But it does explain many of the strange feelings, memories, and nostalgias, so I am grateful. It's the way the universe works. If you keep digging and digging, you will find that you are many more people. And if you keep going enough, you end up understanding that each and everyone is you. and that you, as Gosha who is reading this, is source itself from your point of view. Everyone else is your fractal. They are just labels, like the places you've lived in. You are not a role. You are source. Exactly. Actually, I even had a discussion about this with someone here. They were insisting on this lineage thing. And I felt that it wouldn't really identify me as a whole anyway, but a fragment. An important fragment, perhaps, but still a fragment. Me as Caroline, it's just another play. You are already whole. You are complete. It's only programming that makes you feel otherwise. That's why it did bother me a little to tell you, because I was forcing a label on you. Okay, you are her, but you don't stop there, no way. I know we are whole, but the programming is deep. Even you feel nostalgia, no? And different, like you are from somewhere else. And don't worry, Svaru, I will not stop there. But it does explain a lot of things for me, and it brings me home in some way. My other home than just here. Because here it is definitely not it. It's like I unpeeled a layer of myself, but I know I am the onion. Yes, I do feel nostalgia. You are Gosha and so much more. But now, from your point of view, even being source itself, you must do whatever Gosha does. Stand in line, in a queue, same with me here. The universe itself is an onion, and in a very real way, you are the universe. Quick question, what if she's just using me to interface, and once she leaves, me, I will stay here, maybe even soulless? In other words, if she decides to unplug there, where will I be? Here in the Gosha body or there? No, you are her. Nothing to worry about. Caroline is not here. Only her body is. There is only one, you. You have always been her, as you have always been Gosha. Nothing to fear. She cannot decide outside of you. If she decides that, it is because you decided that. By the way, she only has been in immersion for 18 months. But as there is no time, it's been decades from your perspective. And what is your relationship with me? And what am I like there? We met at the academy in Toleka Island, Temer. You are older than I. Caroline is officially 130 years old, Earth time, linear. But I've been jumping in my ship alone, and I haven't talked to you for quite a while. And to make things worse, you immersed. Am I similar to the personality is now? You are her. So the personality is the same one, because you can only be you. You went there just to be there. You must understand that that's all your objective. All you need is to be there to make a change. Your objective is to do whatever you feel you must do. Have a happy life. That will bring the change, because you must be the new world. Don't worry about thinking you are missing something, because you are not. Oh, it's all so amazing. And a little funny to hear about myself up there. Gosha here is having fun with the idea of having all those tasks you are talking about on a spaceship. As you are now, I guess you couldn't even know your way around the bridge, let alone anything else. But you are still you. And you are Gosha now too. It will stop being funny soon. Why? Because it will be progressively more and more familiar to you. Once you see the facts, however that will be, it will no longer be funny. I mean, the facts about you personally. You will see them little by little.
So here, when I first heard the name, it didn't trigger anything. Later on, I also saw a photo of myself, and it didn't trigger anything either. And when I heard the description of the tasks and personality, well, yeah, I am recognizing myself in some, not all, of these roles. and functions and interests, of course, but nothing else. It didn't trigger anything. So my amnesia is very strong here. So it was all very intense. It was a very intense time, super exciting, super intriguing, but in a way, and it still is in a way, it was a story. Like I said, it wasn't triggering anything really. Moggy. It wasn't triggering anything really. So maybe in your case, it's different because you have a stronger memory and you have your own specific, a detail. But in my case, it was given to me really, that the name and specifics. It kind of still does like a story. So yeah, I am identifying, of course, already with that story. But it's still a story. It's something outside, external. What do I mean by that? That, for example, if someone came and told me, Gosha, this was not true. This is not true. For example, it's not going to happen, of course. Don't think that I have doubts. I don't. But if it happened, this is not true. Well, I'm still going to be okay because I'm still me. The story will just change. I don't have the identification to the story, meaning I don't have memories. So if someone tells me this is not what it is, well, okay, then my story is different, So I'm going to be okay. I don't know if I'm explaining this correctly. But of course, it gave me the excitement. It gave me a lot of peace, knowing and piecing all these details later on with them together, knowing about their functions and different duties that I had there and interests and different things. Of course, it gave me a lot of inner peace because it explained this unidentifiable layer of me I was yearning to understand more, even though I think that specific layer after which I'm yearning is still beyond that. But at least I stripped one layer, and it was very curious. I'm a curious person in general, so of course I'm going to be curious about different things that I have done and the soul journey. And yeah, it was a very intriguing time when I was first discovering it. And especially it was intriguing because I knew that some of them there know me. I mean, how many times, how often do you get the opportunity to talk to someone from your stellar life, parallel life somewhere, who knows you to such detail? This was just bizarre for me and very intriguing metaphysically, because I love strange things, and so this was very strange and it was very, very, very cool. But in any way, I felt less. I did not feel any less. I don't know where she got that from. Maybe from her past experiences when she was giving the identity to the starseed, and maybe they were going into some kind of a conflict with their current identity as a human, feeling less. I'm not feeling less at all. It never really occurred to me. How could I feel less? Why would I? If I'm the same essence, I am the same soul. It's still me. It doesn't matter what avatar I'm in. What's the difference? Why is it less? I'm still me. It's still me. It's still me here. So it doesn't. Why would I feel less? I feel exactly the same, just without that access to the memory of what I was doing. But I feel very integrated. It never created this conflict between one or another identity. I am both, and I am still more. So I'm very fine with the fact that I have all these multiple people. In fact, later it was added on that I actually have another immersion program running. Bongish. So I'm cool with that as well. Oh, and also when Svaru is saying, okay, you are cornering me, I will have to tell you. No, she wanted to tell me. I don't know if you can feel this in this conversation, but yeah, she was like, I know exactly who you are, but I don't know if I can tell you. Like, of course, what you're going to say. You're going to say, tell me. Especially she knowing how curious I am. She knew how I'm going to react. She came and said, oh, by the way, I know exactly who you are. Well, of course she knew what I'm going to say. She was expecting that. She was expecting me to say, tell me. So, yeah, that was teasing, you know. Oh, you were cornering me. She wanted to tell me. She wanted to tell me. So now there's going to be a surprise chat. Surprise chat. Okay, so here, sorry, drinking water because I'm talking a lot. Here in this chat, I'm actually talking to, well, there are 4 people in the chat. However, only 2 are really speaking. And that's Asket. In the very, 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 very beginning, we spoke, Robert especially, with Asket a few times, I a few times, Robert more, and Mayani. Mayani is the executive chief officer of the ship I was in. That's all I'm going to say for now. But both of them knew me. Mayani especially, she was working with me on the same ship. So they both come to the conversation. Who are other 2? Svaru and Aneka, but they are quiet here. And I'm asking them a bunch of questions and we are chatting. So I had to cut some more detailed and personal stuff because there is still another more personal layer to the story. Whatever, maybe sometime I will share, but it doesn't matter. I'm still sharing a lot of personal stuff. This is something I have never shared. So enjoy the conversation.
I present Mayani, Executive Officer and Acting Captain of Starship Taygetienne.
Hello, I'm Mayani. Also, I'm very excited to talk to you this way. We know each other well, and not. This is so strange.
Yes, I was thinking about this, that it would be so strange for you both. From what I understand, we know each other there. I'm sorry for my amnesia.
Yes, it is. And surprising as well.
Surprising?
Also the way we, or you, found us, I feel it very strange.
Yes, we didn't expect you to be Caroline.
Are you sure of this then?
Yes, it's confirmed.
I checked this so many times I cannot count, over and over.
How well do you both know me?
We've worked for close to 20 years now.
I've known you since 1975, Earth year reference.
And what does this checking process consist of?
We, or I, follow what you are doing while you talk to Svaru, and compare your reactions with Caroline's at the same time.
I'm so blown away. Don't know what to say almost.
You don't have to. I can't believe I'm talking to you this way.
We are here for you today, in case you need to ask any questions. We know this may be hard on you.
I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for being here with me. I appreciate it more than you can imagine.
You are welcome.
Yes, you are welcome.
Welcome, Gosha.
Mayani, and Asket too, I would first like to know why I decided to come here, into the immersion program. What inspired this decision? Mayani, you were with me on the ship, so we had to talk about it.
You said that you wanted to experience 3D for a while. You said you wanted to try it out. You also said that you wanted to help from the inside. You felt very confident, as it was to be only a few months as seen from the side. A lifetime on the other side. You went in a state of total fearlessness.
Why didn't you stop me?
Stop you? No way, you are quite stubborn. It's never the same once you are there. Everyone says so. Only the strongest hearts dare to.
A lot has changed since you went in. And we all agree, it's in no way a good idea to get involved that way, through immersion. It's too much, and quite unnecessary.
Well, I'm here, but I feel I haven't done anything yet.
What would make you think that? Because you have, and a lot. You just must understand that what looks like a lot there may not be that much from this perspective, and vice versa.
Making a lot of money and becoming famous is a lot there. From here, from this perspective, it's not much. It's a waste of time almost. Being there is good enough. Why is it enough? Because you are like an antenna, like a generator of higher frequency, and you profoundly affect your 3D surroundings just by existing, you and the other starseeds. You don't have to be doing something great and obviously useful. You are doing a lot just by being there. Well, I always felt it was very important for me to maintain my frequency here. Integrity, transparency, joy, freedom, etc. Perhaps it's part of the mission to infuse this world with those concepts.
Yes, that's right.
That's why you feel that to be of importance for you. And how does it work technically, the immersion? How does my soul get to travel here?
Annika, please, your turf.
Your body, the one you have now, is a partial interpretation, as best as 3D can interpret, your original 12-strand, 24-chromosome DNA. And you went into that one because it was the best match to your frequency, and you chose it directly, supervising what you would do and when you would go in. And you also chose the triggers that will start your awakening that happened long before you met us. Again.
As best as 3D can interpret your original 12-strand, 24-chromosome DNA. Is this for everyone here the same way? Everyone who is on Earth?
For all the stars that went in the same way you did, yes, but not for all, as some did go in directly from source, and others are just a part of the matrix, and they are not real people, as in people with a soul.
But how does my soul get transferred here? Your soul is not there. Your soul is in the higher realms. It's only your awareness that is there. Okay. And you said you went into that one because it was the best match to your frequency and you chose it directly.
Yes, you did, but you based your decision on future projections.
Did I know where and who my family would be?
Yes, you did know. You planned this.
Did you know?
We did talk about it, yes. But the important details, you alone had to handle. Or else, another consciousness, mine in this case, could interfere.
Okay, and what did I tell you?
That you had carefully chosen a good family that would support you enough to be able to have the experience you wanted. That would also give you a lot of perspective about what you do not want in order to know what you do want. Not sure what you meant about that, but that's what you said.
Perhaps I meant a Catholic upbringing, small town with no visions of anything. Exactly. How old am I there?
130.
Older than I, 108.
45 here.
21.
17.
You were on Temur before. You also taught at the Academy of Flight in Temur, and you were into deep space exploration and charting and stellar navigation, if I remember correctly. Last mission, Boots Void, next to the D Scientiplex.
Then Alpha Centauri A, and then Earth.
Boots Void?
Yes, a place with almost no stars. That's why it's called Void. You are an explorer, you always want to know what's behind everything. It does define you here.
But how can I know all this if here I don't understand anything about science, physics, etc.? I am into arts and literature and languages here. Technology is not my strength, nor is science.
We talked about this. Listen to Swaru, please.
You are there with a limited memory, and you are using a body that has a split brain into two hemispheres. That's why you feel that math and science is not your thing. But here, you blend it all together. As you don't have a split brain, you see it all holistically. Math is art, and so is stellar cartography. We navigate ships using frequency, as in numbers. What is a perfectly coordinated sequence of frequency? It goes by another name, music. I do make music here. If you can compose music, you can plot a course for a ship. Wow. How long have I been on my ship?
Since 2008. 10 years now.
But in other places?
You were like 40 years old when you started. Almost 100 years now on ships.
Mayani, tell me, please, the most special moment we had together. Something emotional for us both. Maybe it will trigger something.
There are many. When your ship, this ship, lost hydraulic power to move the engines. We were quite helpless, but we both crawled in through a small passage, and we were there inside the engine for almost 20 hours, and we both fixed it. You and I.
Wow, I don't remember anything, Mayani.
That said, you're not remembering.
Haha, Mayani. Gosha not remembering. It is meant to be that way.
And what is my personality like, please?
You are very loving and caring, but you are also always looking for your alone time. You are very wise and you talk a lot, yet you always choose your words very carefully. You and Annika are the fastest talkers here, very communicative.
You are very calm and a very self-confident person. You are very clear with what you want, you know where to focus your energy. You love reunions, but you do need a lot of alone time. You don't have a family, you are the last of your line here.
As your perception is different, so may your overall personality differ. Still you again, though. We don't wish to interfere with your personality as you are, your role. Amazing. Time is almost up. What can you both tell me, Asket and Mayani, as an advice before I continue on my 3D absurdity here?
Be yourself. You are Gosha now. When it's all over, it will be a memory. Enjoy your time there, as no harm can come upon you. You survive everything there, even if your 3D body does not.
Thank you, Mayani. Is it your first time you talked to someone from 3D Earth?
Me? Yes, first time ever today, with you.
And how are you feeling? Is it strange? A new experience and adventure, no?
It is, because I know who you are.
We are your family now, here, as you have no other. As Mayani said, don't fall into fear, as you went in there in total fearlessness. You are taken care of from here, you are never alone.
Thank you. Your words ring home to me. I wish so much to remember who you all are and our times together, but I got nothing. I accept my amnesia though, although it hurts my soul. Thank you, all of you. It meant so much to me.
It was wonderful meeting you. Again.
Incredible, right? Well, it was incredible to me. I remember, and I also remember it was at the time when I think I didn't tell my then boyfriend in Spain that I had this contact experience. I was like hiding somewhere in my bedroom and at night when he was sleeping. So it was adding to the mystery of the whole thing. It was incredible. I mean, Mayani, sharing the things that we did together, and she was so cute because she was like so surprised that I'm not remembering, and it was so strange for her. So yeah, for them it was, how was it talking to me in general now, all of them? Well, like for Mayani it was maybe strange, but for others who are used to this idea already, starseeds in the immersion, it was okay. They treat you like a new person, sort of. So I never felt they treated me like Caroline, assuming that I know this or I know that. They completely respect and adapt to my Gosha experience. So I never felt they were ridiculing or being amused or shocked or impatient with me not knowing something. And that's just, I appreciated that so much always, because I'm always so full of questions and so curious, and it had to be very strange for them. Like, how is she so curious about all these things? She knows all this, but they were just super, super patient and understanding. So they understand how the immersion works. About your personality will permeate through. So if you are if you have certain qualities in you right now, it's most probable that you're the same or similar in essence on the other side, so to speak. So it's also another indication of who you are and what you might be doing there. So in time, as I was integrating all this information and adding more stuff, and then the picture was shown to me as well, which didn't trigger anything either, of course, like I said. Well, I was like integrating it more and more. And now I feel very integrated. I don't mind being this, I don't mind being that. I know I'm both, I know I'm more, I know I am everyone. I just feel very dissolved in a way. I don't feel very fixed in this one specific identity. I do not feel fixed in that Caroline identity either. I just feel everything. So I'm very, 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 very at peace. But I do have to say that yes, it did give me a lot of understanding to know more about myself. I remember I used to cry a lot before this contact. I did not cry almost at all in the last 7 years because it's like pieces came more together. I felt very nostalgic, and sometimes I still do, but much, much less. Like I just came to understand much more about myself. So in that sense, knowing more about your stellar identity, it might give you a little bit more a handle of why you are a certain way. It gives you more harmonious feeling about yourself because you understand yourself more. But it's not necessary. It's not necessary to know, and sometimes can be even counterproductive, or it can be even too difficult to handle because probably maybe you came to forget for a reason as well. Now, a short insert here from our friend Robert. He has had a walking experience, as he believes. Remember, this is not confirmed by them, by the way. They don't know anything about Robert, so they say. But this is about what you feel. And Robert feels that he had the walking experience, and he explains this. He explains this in another video I did in detail. But I asked him, how is it important for you to know this? How did your life change? It happened in 2008. And he saw himself walking in, by the way, as a light blue being. How is it for him? What did it change? Is it important to know? Is that how he views himself? Is this his identity?
How does it help you to know that you have an identity as that blue being? Well, let's see. The only thing it helps me with is that I know I'm something more. That now I live life as Robert, but that I'm something more. That this doesn't end here. I'm something more. I approach life differently. I mean, I'm not afraid of death because I know I will continue. But that's all, nothing more. I don't go around saying that I am that person and, I don't behave like that person, no. I don't because I only know what I look like. I don't know anything else. Not even where I come from. Nothing. I simply know what I look like. How did knowing that change my life? This was in 2008. I didn't know anything before. It was after 2008 when this happened to me. The person who was here left and another came in. That blue being. How did it change my life? A little. I became less materialistic, focusing more on the spiritual world and the extraterrestrial phenomenon, that is, going all in, completely. Perhaps if I hadn't had this experience, I'd be married today, have a family, and live a normal, ordinary life. And also, is that what you feel you are? No. Well, I don't feel like that being, nor do I feel like I'm Robert. I'm simply having an experience in this body. but I don't feel like this body. I'm having an experience in this body knowing that when I came here, before coming here, I already had a body. So, what I sense is that before being this body, I was that other blue body out there. But for now, I have to live the experience in this one.
So yes, because in his case, it didn't come with any specific memories that he's able to retrieve right now. He remembers what he looks like. But like he said here, it's an important point, knowing that identity is giving you peace of mind with regards to death and dying, because you know there is no death, and you know there is so much more. So in that sense, it would give you that peace of mind that you continue when your essence continues. But in a way, you don't have to know your stellar identity to know that anyway. And also, like in Robert's case, your values can change a little bit, because he saw himself in a totally different light, in a totally different version of himself, and that like spinned him here and some of his more materialistic values. So yeah, in that sense, it can influence you as well. So in the end, does it matter or does it not matter to know your stellar identity? Again, I'm not going to be imposing the interpretation of the answer on you and your own experience, because it will be very subjective. It will be important to some, it may not be for others. In my case, it was important at the time, even though I, from the beginning, knew about the cages, so to speak, about non-identification with just one specific race, because we are a conglomerate of beings. We are a complete pool of different species in one. So I always sensed that, I always knew that, but in a way it was important to me to understand that a layer of myself, because it gave me some understanding of my qualities, of my job. Like that actually, made me more in peace with what I'm doing now, made me understand it much more. So it may be also important to connect that perhaps to, but this connects also to the past lives, because are we talking about remembering past lives or a stellar identity? That's maybe two different things, because I was going to say that it helps you to maybe resolve some traumas, if you have some unresolved traumas in the past and that are influencing you still today, but this may or not have anything to do with your stellar identity in itself, but it's just your past life. It could have been here on Earth as well. The stellar identity, it's just fun to know. It may give you some peace, some order, some inner harmony and alignment, frequency resonance, expansion in a way towards your soul family. But I believe you can experience that without knowing specifics, without knowing specifics. And that's where it goes to the original message. We really belong to no one. That's not the correct word, belonging. We do not belong to any ET external races. There's no one we belong to, no one possesses us. We belong just to us and to our own mind. This is where we anchor ourselves. The only realm I really belong to is my own resonance, my own values, my core, my essence. This is where I dwell. This is me. This is who and where I am. So just be you. Be free and be you. And trust the rest. Trust yourself. Everything will be fine. Thank you guys for watching. This was a long video. I hope you enjoyed it. See you in the next video. Bye bye.